This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Gareth after what was an eventful, maybe an unexpected way to close the Whittaker-Cameron story, if you like, Gareth. So I'll just go straight into it. Was it premature or not, that stoppage?
Not in my view, as I pour a little tequila on Easter Monday. I hope you don't mind. I'm a little tequila and vape. Haven't done that for a while. No, I didn't think it was premature at the time. I thought Liam was in trouble. Um, I had slight disagreements with some of my team that was commentating with. But I thought the optics, you could argue, it looked early. Um, and I wondered afterwards if Liam was remonstrating, as the team were, with the referee Howard Foster on the call out. But my instinct was Liam was hurt, and he was only going to take more punishment. The big question mark around it was, did or does Ben Whittaker really have the power to take him to elite level? And I think he showed that. Was it premature? No.
Okay, so you believe Liam couldn't have carried on.
I think he was getting battered, and I know it was eight punches unanswered and on wobbly legs. I believe that Howard Foster didn't give him a standing count because it's the IBF rules.
Hmm.
10 seconds early rather than 10 seconds late is the great rule for boxers not being hurt, which I do adhere to and do believe in. I'm not saying he couldn't have gone on anymore. He's a very strong, very tough man. But I just think he was hurt, and I think Howard Foster was the closest man to him.
Okay, how were you seeing? I know it was very brief, but how were you seeing the fight anyways?
Liam was looking to take him into the late rounds. That's clear. He was going to absorb some punishment. Liam didn't believe after the first fight that Ben was capable of really hurting him. You could see the plan was to absorb the flash brash style early on, absorb some punches, frustrate Ben, take some of his best shots, and then come back at him. I think that's what the plan was. That's what it looked like. And he was absorbing those punches in the first round. And Whittaker was doing his thing, flash and brash. Liam caught him a couple of times, but Liam was tucked up and just waiting for opportunities to let big punches go, as he did in the first fight. When he got into rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously, his team and he will be really disappointed. Grant Smith, the matchmaker with the Warren camp, will be elite and will be very disappointed as well and frustrated with the stoppage. But I don't think Liam appeared at the post-fight press conference, did he?
No, but I've spoke to Liam and I tried to ask in a couple of different ways about were you disappointed with Howard Foster's call? And he said it happened so quickly. I've got no complaints. Um, I might have lost the fight, but I've won in life, was his reaction.
Yeah, well, he has. He's an amazing person. I mean, look, full disclosure, I went as part of the broadcast team I got up to do the interviews as I do with them from the desk. And Liam came past me, and my feeling was at the time that he looked okay, and I wanted to try and get a word with him to see if he wanted to say something about being unhappy about the stoppage. But his team were unhappy with me doing that, and they came between us. And I get that afterwards, and I spoke to them afterwards. I said all I was trying to do was give him an opportunity to speak, because I didn't know how damaged he was at the time. And he stopped, and they said, "No, you're not speaking to him," and that was dealt with. And security with those, it was dealt with. As I think you know as well, but there was a little bit, not an altercation, but it was like, no, you can't speak to him now. And I cleared that up with his team afterwards as much as I possibly could. Say all I was doing was my job to see if he wanted to speak, if he wanted to protest the decision in that moment, but it didn't happen. I'm glad you've spoken to him. He is a winner in life. He's an extraordinary character. Look, they came for him. They came for him, and they came to boo Ben Whittaker, didn't they? That was very self-evident when Ben Whittaker walked out. Half the arena was booing Ben Whittaker. But the other side to this is when you've got someone who's booed by the audience, when you've got someone with 3 million Instagram followers, when you've got someone who's flashy, pizzazzy, brash, and plays the heel in some ways, he's going to earn money. And if he can keep winning, he'll go to the top. And that's what we've got with Ben Whittaker. I'm not saying Liam couldn't fight him again, because I think he could. But it just didn't go his way on the night. And a lot of people felt that, and I understand that feeling as well, and his team felt like this, that he didn't get the full opportunity to show himself on Saturday night. Sunday night. I did know that because when I booked in when I came up into the hotel on Sunday night, I was booked for Saturday, not Sunday.
Oh,
Easy mistake to make.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so on the broadcast on
Do you
Sky,
disagree with? Do you disagree with anything I'm saying there that you'd like to pinpoint?
honestly, we're getting your opinion here, but if I thought the stoppage was premature, yeah, I did.
That's what I mean. That half the people will feel the optics of it's been built up into a really big fight. It's a genuine grudge fight. That it was controversial because Whittaker pulled him out over the ropes in the fifth round in that first fight in Riyadh. It generated a lot of publicity. So did the 10 or 12 rounds. Lee Eaton did a brilliant job getting extra money. Ben Shalom was made more famous by the controversy, if you like, and maybe is realizing that he needs to embrace these scenarios because these are the scenarios that make big fights. Excuse me. And as a result, 10,000 people there and the millions watching around the world, cruel as it is, want to see someone finished or not. So I do get that as well. So the optics would have split everyone because it would have felt like this is a really tough guy. Give him his opportunity, not just to be a champion in life, but to completely upset the apple cart and make Ben Whittaker rebuild and build his own career. So I do get that as well, by the way. And I want you to know that I do understand people not being happy with the outcome as well.
No, it's not. It's not about seeing someone. I know a lot of fans do love that someone getting ice, but it's not about someone being someone finished because that's dangerous. But when he was just on the ropes, obviously he was hurt from a brilliant shot. He went back onto the ropes.
His legs
And
went,
his
yeah,
legs went, they buckled, his knee buckled, he went back onto the ropes. But when he was on the ropes, his hands didn't drop. The tight guard was still there, and the punches were still being caught. He didn't throw anything back, which is maybe why Howard intervened. Normally,
He took
maybe
three punches before he went onto the ropes as well. It was a straight right and a couple of body shots, both
but
sides of his
if
body.
one of his hands had dropped or his body had gone,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would have, and an overhand right came over the top, that would have been different.
Yeah,
But his
this
hands
is
were
a good
cupped up.
argument. This is a good
Um,
argument as
I
well.
think normally when the standing count is in place, I think the referee would give a standing count there.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But this was IBF.
There you go. Um, and you're right. Liam's plan was definitely to take him into
Yeah,
deep
clearly,
round.
because he was just resisting. He was absorbing and resisting early on, and that's why it's extraordinarily frustrating for a team, the training team, and indeed the fighter, when they've prepared for this. They've prepared to absorb. So I understand. I fully understand the arguments, Umar. Um, I had an instinct that he was hurt, though, and I think we were shocked by him being hurt by Whittaker's punch as well. But he set it up well, and I don't know. It's Liam's not finished anyway, and I think you'll see a guy go on to greatness in Ben Whittaker.
Mm.
Although that doesn't probably solve anything for him right now.
So on the broadcast, on the Sky broadcast, there was different reactions to the reaction from Whittaker. Johnny was saying that, his emotion was coming out and that reaction was essentially justified. Dave Coldwell took an opposite view and called it classless. Where do you stand on it?
Well, I get both of them, and I'm on the Johnny side. I'm on the fighter side as opposed to the trainer side. Dave would have been talking like a trainer,
Hmm.
where he's in the corner, he's frustrated and annoyed for his fighter, as indeed. I mean, Grant Smith's a very quiet man. He's not a man given. Some of his corners were much more annoyed. They were with me when I tried to interview him, but we spoke afterwards. They're very cool people. I've got to say that they're very cool people, because if you are straight with them, they get you. They're very intelligent people around Liam Cameron. And I think Dave was speaking very much from that corner feeling that your man's just lost. Is he hurt or not? You want to get to the crux of, was it stopped too early? How is he actually feeling? The game plan's gone awry. You've put weeks of preparation in, if not years with the man. And suddenly you've got a guy sticking his head and his body through the ropes, salivating. He wasn't spitting on them. I think that was cleared up
No,
after.
Grant Smith confirmed he didn't
I
spit on
think
them.
you spoke to Grant as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't spitting. He was like a crazed animal at the time. It was adrenaline, wasn't it? It was relief. He cried afterwards, didn't he, at the press conference?
Yeah.
He was human. He was very human afterwards. As is Liam. Liam's always human. He's a very, very lovable person, and an incredible story. But I get what Dave was saying. I do get what Dave was saying. But when I saw him reacting like that, I just saw a man who was so relieved, who'd had the weight of the world on his shoulders for 6 months, and it just lifted. And it shows you that people do have self-doubt, no matter how confident they are, and they need to prove it. And he proved something to himself, his team, his father, Tony, to the crowd who booed him in. They didn't boo him out, though, did they?
No,
No.
no. Well,
We've got a good story on our hands. We've got a good story on our hands in Ben Whittaker.
Yeah, it's clear to see in the short space of time Andy and Ben have been working together. There's been a lot done as well, with Ben Whittaker from Andy Lee. All right, well, listen, Gareth, I think that's everything, unless you want to add something else from last night.
No, just happy Easter. I've got your egg for when I see you. That's all you're getting. I've given away all the other ones already.
No
I'll hide
eggs.
it somewhere in the garden. You can come around and find it.
No, it's Eubank Ben week, so no eggs allowed.
That's exactly the segue. I'll hide it somewhere at the grand arrivals or the press conference this week, and you can find it.
Okay, I'll try and find it tomorrow at the grand arrival. See you there.
Cheers.
Thanks, Gareth.
Queensbury,
The biggest fights,
and the biggest nights.
home of champions.
The home of knockouts.
There's no way back from this.
The home of the future.
And this is
The
it.
global home of boxing.
Queensbury, exclusively on design.